Something just exploded in South African political discourse, and it is not coming from Parliament or an official briefing. It is coming from a war of words that has now placed two controversial public figures at the center of a storm that is getting louder by the hour. A public figure has openly labeled Julius Malema a political devil, accusing him of deception, corruption-linked behavior, and manipulation of public sentiment. In the same breath, Malema has reportedly given a 24-hour ultimatum demanding an apology, or legal consequences will follow. But here is where things immediately become complicated. These are not courtroom-proven facts. These are explosive allegations, political claims, and public accusations that raise a far bigger question than the personalities involved. Is this about truth and accountability? Or is it a calculated political performance designed to shift public perception at a time when tensions around immigration, governance, and political loyalty are already extremely high? And more importantly, why now? Before we go deeper, if you are watching this and you want to stay updated on major political developments and breaking controversies like this, make sure you like this video and subscribe, because stories like this do not stay static. They escalate fast, and the next update could completely change everything we think we know. Now,
ngikhulume mina ngenyoka efile uJulius Malema ufana nenyoka efile into engeke savuka akahamba ejele aphume walahla ithuba limfanele ukuthi our generation ashintshe ukuphathwa kwezwe kodwa yena wadawuka ukubusa wanyanya uzulu ke waphinde wazothatha imali ko point engineering baluthi VPS bayiqeda bangene kuruleni bashaya babhuqa manje badla imali yabantu bangaphandle ke bathola $60 million beqhamuka kwamazweni angaphandle oJulius Malema angine ndaba noma ngenzani inyoka efile ngithi mina isikhathi sakhe siphelile Julius Malema umgodoyi udayise ngabantu baseningizimu Afrika ematweni bokufika angikwesabi mfana wami hamba uyikhamela la ukhona angilibeki lapho mina ngithi sizokwaZulu mina mangifuna ngithole enkandla noma ngithole khona ngikona ngizomsendela location ezela kimi asakusikho sokudlala manje uJulius Malema upolitical devil but osopolitiki bamsaba nomongameli bamesaba simesabi ke thina injaji yithi siphethe manje futhi sothatha lelizwe silungise liqonde lithi ngqo ama-drugs utshwala kuvula utshwala ingane zethu idaka ubusuku nemini zidayisa ngemzimba ihlazo lenzeka kulelizwe.
Let's break this down carefully. At the center of this controversy is a public exchange involving Ngizwe Mchunu and Julius Malema, a prominent South African political leader known for his outspoken style and polarizing influence. Malema leads a party that has consistently placed itself at the center of national debates around land, economic redistribution, and governance accountability. Ngizwe Mchunu, on the other hand, is a media personality and former radio figure who has also become known for controversial political commentary, particularly around issues of national identity and foreign nationals living in South Africa. The recent statements attributed to Ngizwe are extremely serious. In public remarks, he reportedly referred to Malema in highly inflammatory language, including labeling him a political devil and accusing him of misleading South Africans. He further alleged that Malema has been involved in unethical financial conduct, including taking money from what he described as illegal foreigners and being linked to the looting of municipal resources. These are not small accusations. These are claims that, if proven true, would carry major legal and political consequences. But as of now, no verified evidence has been publicly presented to substantiate them. What makes this even more intense is the reported response from Julius Malema himself. According to circulating statements, Malema has demanded that Ngizwe retract his comments and issue an apology within 24 hours, or face further legal action. That is where this story takes its first sharp turn, because suddenly, what began as a public accusation has transformed into a legal and political standoff. But here's the question that immediately emerges, and it is the one many observers are quietly asking. Are these claims being made on the basis of verified evidence, or are they part of a broader political narrative battle that has been building for years? To understand this, we need to step back and look at the broader context. South Africa has long struggled with intense political polarization. Figures like Julius Malema have built their reputations on direct, often aggressive political messaging that appeals strongly to certain segments of the population while deeply frustrating others. At the same time, issues surrounding immigration, unemployment, and access to public resources have created a highly sensitive environment where public statements about foreign nationals can easily escalate into wider social tension. This is the backdrop against which these allegations are emerging. Now, let's move through the sequence of events as it has been publicly reported. The controversy appears to have escalated after Ngizwe made a series of public remarks during a media appearance and social commentary sessions. In those statements, he directly criticized Malema's political conduct and went further to make accusations involving corruption and financial misconduct. Shortly after those remarks gained traction on social media, clips began circulating widely, sparking intense debate online. Supporters of Ngizwe argued that he was speaking truth to power, while critics accused him of using inflammatory language and making unverified allegations that could damage reputations. Then came the turning point. Reports emerged that Julius Malema responded strongly, rejecting the claims and demanding a public apology within a strict 24-hour window. According to these reports, Malema's position was not just denial, but a warning that legal action would follow if the statements were not withdrawn. And this is where things take a more serious legal tone. Because when political figures begin issuing legal threats in response to public allegations, the situation moves beyond social media debate. It enters a space where defamation law, political accountability, and public interest journalism begin to intersect. But here is where the story becomes even more complex. Despite the intensity of the accusations, there is currently no publicly verified court filing or formal investigative report confirming the claims made against Malema in this specific instance. That means the situation exists in a gray zone where public perception is being shaped faster than verified facts can emerge. And that raises a disturbing question. In today's digital political environment, does perception now travel faster than truth? Because while legal processes move slowly, social media reactions move instantly. And once a narrative takes hold online, it becomes extremely difficult to reverse, even if later evidence contradicts it. What happened next in this unfolding situation only deepened the tension. Social media platforms erupted with divided reactions. Some users supported Ngizwe's boldness, arguing that public figures should be scrutinized aggressively, especially when they hold political influence. Others condemned the statements, warning that unverified accusations could inflame political hostility and social division. But here is where things get even more complicated. There is also a deeper historical layer to this conflict. Ngizwe Mchunu has previously been associated with strongly worded commentary on immigration and national identity, often triggering debate and criticism. Julius Malema, meanwhile, has frequently positioned himself as a defender of economic transformation and has himself faced numerous political controversies and legal disputes over the years. This means that when these two figures clash, it is not happening in a vacuum. It is happening on top of years of political tension, ideological disagreement, and public mistrust. And that brings us to one of the most important unanswered questions in this entire situation. Are these allegations part of a genuine effort to expose wrongdoing, or are they part of a deeper political strategy to shape public perception ahead of broader political developments? Because in modern politics, timing is never accidental. Every statement, every accusation, and every response carries strategic weight. And when high-profile figures engage in public confrontation, it often reflects not just personal disagreement, but broader political positioning. What makes this even more significant is the economic and social backdrop. South Africa continues to face major challenges around unemployment, service delivery, and municipal governance. Allegations involving corruption and mismanagement are not new in the national conversation. In fact, they are recurring themes that consistently influence voter sentiment and public trust in institutions. So when claims of municipal looting or financial misconduct are introduced into public debate, they do not exist in isolation. They connect immediately to existing frustrations within society. But here is the part few people are talking about. Whether or not these specific allegations are proven, the speed at which they spread highlights a deeper issue: the growing power of politically charged narratives in shaping public understanding before facts are established. And that has consequences. Because when allegations circulate widely without verification, they can damage reputations, intensify social divisions, and shift public trust in ways that are difficult to repair later, even if the claims are disproven. Now, let's look at the broader institutional impact. If this situation escalates into formal legal proceedings, it could set a precedent for how public political accusations are handled in South Africa moving forward. It could also influence how media personalities, activists, and political figures communicate sensitive claims in public spaces. But if it does not proceed legally and remains at the level of social media confrontation, it raises another concern: the normalization of high-stakes political accusations without formal accountability mechanisms. And that leads us directly into public reaction. Across online platforms, reactions have been sharply divided. Some segments of the public view the allegations as courageous exposure of political misconduct. Others see them as reckless, dangerous, and potentially defamatory statements that contribute to political instability. Media coverage has also reflected this divide, with some outlets focusing on the seriousness of the accusations, while others emphasize the lack of verified evidence and the need for restraint until formal processes clarify the situation. But here is where the tension continues to build. Because regardless of which side the public supports, both sides are now locked into a narrative conflict that is unlikely to resolve quickly. And that brings us to what happens next. If Julius Malema proceeds with legal action, the matter could move into a courtroom setting where evidence, testimony, and documentation will determine the outcome. In that scenario, public statements alone will not be enough. Substantiation will be required. If, however, an apology is issued within the reported 24-hour window, the situation could de-escalate publicly, but the underlying political tensions would almost certainly remain unresolved. There is also a third possibility that cannot be ignored: that this entire episode continues to unfold primarily in the public domain, fueled by media attention, social commentary, and political interpretation, without ever reaching a formal investigative conclusion. And if that happens, the biggest impact may not be legal or political at all. It may be psychological and social, because it reinforces a growing reality in modern political environments that public perception can become more influential than verified truth. So, as this situation develops, the key question is not just who said what, or who will respond legally. The real question is this: how do societies maintain trust, accountability, and truth when political accusations travel faster than evidence can be verified? And perhaps even more importantly, how many more of these controversies can emerge before the line between political debate and public misinformation becomes too blurred to clearly define? Right now, there are no final answers. Only claims, counterclaims, reactions, and rising tension. And in situations like this, the truth is often not revealed in the first statement, or even the second. It is revealed in what survives after all the noise settles. But until that moment arrives, this story remains open, unresolved, and deeply contested. And the next development could change everything once again.